Howdy gang, another Boss Butcher video here. Gonna speak my mind on something here about my coverage this past year. We've been doing Terror Troop for a year, been doing the vampire beat for quite some time now, a little more than a year because I did it on Horror Jungle as well. And actually I'm gonna cut loose and just mention a few things that I have had it up to here with. And as far as movies go, and one of them is vampire movies, but I'll get into that after this because this part won't take as long. The main thing, one thing I am totally sick of, we talked about it on Grizzly Zone, is the post-apocalyptic zombie movie. Enough already. They're dumb, they're boring. Even good ones are going to be boring at this point because it's been beaten to death. You know, it's just, do something different. I'd rather see a movie about frog people than a frickin' zombie movie at this point. Please stop, because I'm going to stop watching. The only ones I'm going to watch are the ones I am forced to by the fact that I review horror movies on a podcast. I am done with frickin' zombie movies, man. And at least for a while, you know. I mean, I like zombie movies when they're good, and you know, it's just the entertainment industry does this, and it's just they go to the well until the well runs dry, and well, my well's running dry. I don't know. Apparently, there's a bottomless resource of zombie fanatics out there. I don't know. And apparently, they're also, now we'll get into the vampire thing. You know, I can't get into it, man. I mean, vampires is what scared me first in horror. And I know that they could make scary movies that are involving vampires, but they don't want to because they're going to the well. And the well is telling them, I want romantic vampires that have human thoughts and ponder their condition and, you know, wonder why they're a vampire and lament the fact that they're going to be alive forever. And you know, Jay of the Dead was always saying they're wimpy. Well, they are, you know. What's so scary about that? Which I don't even think they're supposed to be scary, but that's beside the point. The other option you have if you're a vampire fan is the mindless creature zombie that is in an action movie where some hero chases after them, and they're more of a zombie or a vampire hunter movie. They're not really a vampire movie because these vampires are, generally speaking, mindless, not even really that scary. They're an action element. They're an enemy to be fought. And as much as I like the Blade movies, they're to blame for this. This is where a lot of that started. And I mean, I like those movies, but you know, in the last several years, I mean, the only vampire movies that appeal to me, heavily anyway, I mean, there's some out there that are okay. Some, you know, there's a few. But the ones that have heavily appealed to me were the 30 Days a Night, you know, brilliant movie, great, scary. The vampires were intelligent, they were powerful, they were scary, you know, imagine that. And then, of course, Let the Right One In, which, depending on your take of what happened there, pretty creepy and scary. You know, it could be. It could also be a romance if you really want to believe that or something, that you could have that option. But other than that, you know, they're all twinkly vampire things, or there's some action story thing, or there's some, to me, you know, a vampire is supposed to, and I've talked about this on the podcast before, it's a demonic entity, a evil, intelligent thing that has totally overtaken this person, and it doesn't have scruples, and it doesn't have feelings as you and I would have. They're not human. They care about feeding themselves and remaining alive. And I think they care about having a certain amount of power. Now, I think I could, off the top of my head, I'm going to challenge myself here. Now, I have thought about it a little, of course, since I do like these creatures in my parameters. off the top of my head, you know. One of them isn't so much off the top of my head. I've talked about this with other people, but why not shoot a vampire movie like almost like a slasher movie or something, where this creature, one way or another, it could start out in a house, and you know, just take a snapshot from the Fright Night. You know, they're kept in a cell for feeding purposes only, and that's all they're there for. They aren't there for company. They're not there for, you know, to have a relationship with. They're there for this guy to eat and devour. And if he gets lonely, which he wouldn't, he probably would just want more power. He would have underlings that he would make. And, you know, shoot it like that. He's a brutal, heartless, evil bastard. That's what's scary. Scary isn't, you know, some guy worrying about his, I'm going to be like this forever or something. I mean, anyway, that's one. You know, there's one. You know, how about, you know, a vampire adapting to the modern world? You know, he couldn't just go around like Count Dracula and wear a cape, and he has to be cunning. He has to think about ways to charm people. I have one right here. How about this? You throw it back to the wild hippie days, the 70s, when technological advances hadn't, you know, made it to where everything is traceable and figured out, and we're going to hunt, and forensics, you know, was nowhere near as advanced. Have a movie set then, and a vampire blending into that culture when people were dropping out of regular society anyway, and if a young person just disappeared, sure, their parents would be worried, but the cops would be like, you know what, he probably ran to San Francisco to hang out there and become a hippie. And they wouldn't try that hard. So this guy could stockpile tons of victims, never be caught. You know, make him like a serial killer. That's what they are. They're a predator. There's two ideas right there. You know, hello, movie makers. I know it probably, but the focus groups probably don't tell them that. So, you know, who wants to make a movie and have no one show up to it? Except for Boss Butcher. I'd show up, and probably a few other people. But I don't know. I guess, you know, really, when I think about it, if they're going to the well, there's a reason they're making these movies, and most people that want to see a vampire movie want to see a melodrama or a romance or a action movie where they fight vampires. You know, and they're to the point now where, you know, it's getting absurd, like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Killer. I mean, what are we going to have next? You know, Mickey Mouse, Lord of the Undead or some shit. I mean, come on. So count me out. Believe me, if I find a really good vampire movie, I will shout it from the rooftops. But most of these are just, you know, they don't hit me right. So I am terribly sorry about that. But I have to get off my chest. I've just had it. I've had it up to here. Had it up to here. So enough. And another thing on my, you'll notice if you want to make a comment, you know, feel free. But I have to have some parameters because, you know, I gotta give a little bit of credit at first for Anonymous, the brave and brash Anonymous, for bringing me to this decision. But you know, I'm not into a wording cowardice. You know, I come out here, here I am, my face. You know where to find me. You can email me, whatever. But Anonymous shows up all the time just to be a troll. And yeah, sometimes it's good motivation, but you know, from now on, feel free. I'll publish any comment unless it's, you know, threatening or something like that, or totally vile. You can tell me I'm full of crap. You can say I'm, you know, whatever. But at least, you know, have some guts. That's all I ask. So, you know, enjoy yourself, and I hope you liked my little rant. You know, have a good day. Laters.